What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a new video, guys. We just finished off with the last video, refreshing this complete N54 engine right here. So we ended up replacing pretty much everything that could be replaced. So if you guys want to check out what we replaced, go ahead, check out the first video. Today, we're actually going to be taking apart this front clip, pretty much prepping the engine to actually drop it in. And for some reason, the previous owner decided to leave everything in the car and didn't even take off the front clip. So we're just going to take it off, so that way it's easier to just slide the engine in. We're probably going to be taking off the transmission separately and bolting it up to the engine while it's out of the car, and then just sliding it down in. So that is the plan. We got Nor over here. He's going to be helping us. He's the professional when it comes to engine swap. With all that being said, let's go ahead, jump right into it. Alrighty, guys.
This guy really gave us his leftovers.
Yeah, bro. What the freak happened?
Wiring, have you shown them the wiring?
I haven't shown them the wiring yet.
Look how bad. Let me show you guys this. You guys probably know a lot more than us. I don't know if that's all right. I don't know if there's any kind of spray we can spray in there. Can they see that?
It's like, yeah, you can definitely see the corrosion.
And not only that, like the wiring of this, I'm throwing away this harness because that's something we can easily replace. All up in these pins, they're all corroded. If you look in here,
like that one, you can see
that's a lot more. You can see that a whole lot more. Like literally every single piece of this harness is just like, look how bad that is.
Pretty rough, to be honest.
And then also, this one actually has ripped connectors too. So
yeah, throwing it away.
Yeah, that one also looks like it's been sitting outside for a while. It doesn't have any of the transmission lines, even missing the drain plug on there as well. I'm hoping that transmission is fine. Worst comes to worst, I think we're gonna keep the other transmission as a spare transmission and then just transfer over the modules to where we don't have to do any coding. But it looks like we might have to keep an extra transmission as a spare because
just in case.
I just don't know, bro. He left this out.
Yeah, he left
really
it sitting.
Like that's crazy.
But yeah, guys. So we got the front bumper off. We took off the hood just because it was already like halfway off. We're like, it's just gonna be easier to take it off. Now I'm glad that we did because I was able to stand inside the actual engine bay and pull the transmission and mess with that. Got the headlights off. The bumper actually has the headlight washers, and I honestly hate that feature. So what we went ahead and did was, this is like the hose that connects to the headlight washers, and I pinched it off with this washer and zip tie because honestly I hate the feature. It just makes a mess more on the headlights and like fenders and bumper, and I hate the residue on there. I'd rather just clean the headlights myself. So I deleted that feature. Yeah, so this is what it's looking like. We got the transmission out. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up this transmission a little bit because it does have some weird like texture on here. It comes right off honestly, but I'm gonna scrub that off. I'm gonna scrub down the actual subframe and all the oil, the caked on oil. I'm gonna try to get all that off because there is quite a bit of caked on oil. Other than that though, we took off the front clip. Pretty much once this is cleaned up, gonna replace this coolant hose and then button up the transmission to the engine. So that is the goal. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on that. Alright guys, I'm not sure where we left off yesterday, but I did get a haircut. I'm looking a little bit different maybe from yesterday's videos, but we are still in the same situation. So yesterday we had to stop recording because we actually did not have some of the parts that we needed. So we needed a 6-bolt flywheel, so I went ahead and bought a 6-bolt flywheel locally, and then I ended up getting some transmission fluid because our transmission leaked all the fluid that was in it. So I went ahead and got some liquid moly, ATF 1800. So I got 6 of these. This should be enough. Typically when we do the transmission fluid, we only use 5 liters instead of like the 6 liters. So hopefully we'll have a little bit extra just in case we need extra. So that is the quick little update. As of now, we're gonna shortly start bolting up the transmission to the engine. And I think what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna take off this coolant hose, because this coolant hose actually we found out was ripped and broken. So turns out that if we were gonna use this anyway, we would have been unlucky. So it's a good thing that we went ahead and bought the new one. So quickly gonna replace this coolant hose right now and then bolt up this transmission to the engine. So let's go ahead, get started on this coolant hose. Alrighty guys, so we actually just tested the crank to make sure that the engine was not seized while the transmission was on, and I'm glad that we did, because we actually learned that when it comes to an automatic transmission, what we ended up doing, which was wrong, is we put on the torque converter onto the engine first. So the torque converter was on here, and then we put the transmission on. So what we ended up having to do when we did that is the crank was seized. That's what it felt like. You couldn't move it. So what we had to do is we had to take off the transmission and we had to take off the torque converter off of the engine. So now we got the torque converter in here, and we had to make sure that it actually clicked into place and was actually moving the drive line. So if you guys are doing an engine swap on an automatic transmission, make sure you don't connect the torque converter first. Make sure you connect it to the transmission. It just slides in and it will sit in place perfectly. And now when I spin this, you guys can see that it spins on the backside. So that is something that you guys definitely want to make sure that you don't mess up on, because you can blow your engine. I did some research, happened to somebody. So if you guys are doing an engine swap, make sure put the torque converter into the transmission, then bolt out the transmission. Don't put on the torque converter first and then the transmission. That's what will cause issues. So anyway, now that we got the torque converter onto here, now we're actually ready to go ahead and install the transmission, and then we shouldn't have any issues. So let's go ahead and jump right into that. Alrighty guys, we got literally everything connected now. So we went ahead and installed the boost solenoids. We installed the transmission cooler. We installed all the wiring, and we went ahead and installed the intake manifold. And I actually ended up replacing all the vacuum lines. So now all the vacuum lines are brand new. Should have no boost leaks from vacuum lines, so that is good. So now the engine is actually fully complete, fully assembled. If we go over here, we got pretty much everything on. Anything else can actually be installed while the engine is in the car. So literally we are ready to go ahead and drop this into the car. So we're gonna go ahead, stop it right here, catch back with you guys in the morning and drop this in to the car in the morning, and then connect everything and hopefully get it started in this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and come back to you guys in just a second. Alrighty guys, so it is the next day. So we are literally ready to actually put the engine and transmission into the car. Literally everything that we could have gotten done, we got done. So we got the engine and transmission chilling over here. We got everything pretty much set up to actually just slide the engine and transmission into place. Once we get it into place, we are gonna bolt it down and connect pretty much everything that we need to get connected. There's a lot of coolant hoses that we gotta connect, a lot of just random lines, air lines, everything. So we're gonna go ahead, do all that stuff. So yeah, I guess let's go ahead and get started on it. Alright guys, we also got some transmission mounts right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and install these real quick while the transmission and engine are out of the car. Just make it a lot easier. So got 2 brand new ones. Let's go ahead and throw these on. Bro, literally the amount of maintenance that this thing has gotten. Brand new motor mounts, transmission mounts. I swear to God, this thing better drive smooth.
Tell me about it. I'm stressed for you, my G.
Sheesh, bro. Alrighty guys, so Erlan went ahead and redid the turbos. So he already actually put everything back on. I had Erlan take out the turbos, replace the actual turbine part on both turbos. So essentially these are rebuilt OEM turbos, which is really great. Honestly, I wanted to keep it as OEM as possible because I want this to be a reliable, somewhat reliable daily driver. So now that the turbos are in and everything else is on, we are now ready to actually drop this engine into the car. So finally ready to go ahead, start this process. One last thing I just noticed that we need to do is we need to put the clamps onto these right here, and then we are good to actually set the engine into the car. So we're gonna go ahead and do that real quick and start the process. Alrighty guys, so we finally got this engine in. We bolted up the engine mounts, so the engine mounts are now on there. We tightened up, we connected everything that needed to be connected on this side, PCV valve, the fuel line, the AC line as well. So we connected a few of the things. We also connected the power steering lines down there. So pretty much everything is now sitting in place and connected. I went ahead and put on the ground wire down there. So now everything is pretty much ready to actually be reassembled. Now we can go ahead and put some more coolant hoses, put on the belt, stuff like that. So we're almost good to go. The engine, I'm just glad it's honestly finally sitting in here. It took us about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to actually get this in here sitting properly. So it took quite a bit of time, but we are good to go on that now. So I think we're gonna call it a day for now. And I'm gonna catch up with you guys probably tomorrow or whenever I get back into getting some more work done. Like I said, it's probably been about 3 weeks into this engine swap, just whenever I have time just doing that. So hopefully you guys understand. Hopefully it's a decent timeline of recordings. So anyway, the engine is finally officially into the car, so that is some good news. So yeah, let's go ahead and catch up with you guys in just a second. Alright guys, so right now we're actually plugging in the DME. We're going to be leaving the injectors unplugged as well as the ignition coils unplugged, and we're going to actually be priming the engine to get oil everywhere, right? That's pretty much what priming is, Erlan?
Yeah, to get oil, pressure built up a little
So
bit.
yeah, to build up oil pressure, we're going to do that. We're just going to prime it for like 30 seconds. And then after it's primed, we're going to try to go ahead and start it to make sure that everything is actually working properly, that there's no like major oil leaks or coolant leaks. Actually, we're not gonna have coolant in it, so as long as there's no oil leaks, first startup should be here shortly. It's been a lot of work put into this car, so I'm really hoping it actually starts at this point. So yeah, let's go ahead and get it started. Alrighty guys, so we literally got everything on the car now. So the last thing that we're waiting for is the DME. So quick little story with the DME is that some of the pins were broken from the previous owner. So we're ending up having to get a new DME program. So currently just waiting for that, but everything else is literally hooked up. Front clip is on, headlights on, bumper, hood, everything is good. We are going to wait with the transmission fluid. I put enough transmission fluid in there so that when we do start it, it's fine. And then once it's actually running, then we're gonna go ahead and put some more transmission fluid. So that's what's going on with that. And then we also just have to add coolant. Once it's coated, we can actually start the car. The engine is definitely not seized, which is good. So that is a good thing. Pretty much knew it wasn't seized anyway, but it's nice to see that it was cranking, even though it was not starting. So pretty much all that we're waiting for, DME, and then we can actually do a startup. So let's go ahead, jump into that being ready. Alrighty guys, so it has been about a month and a half since we last touched this car. I apologize for not posting many videos about this thing, but realistically we've been waiting for one thing and one thing only, and it has been this DME and cast and key. So I went ahead, had to get a new DME. I got an MSD81. I had it properly coded to this VIN number by my friend Evan. He went ahead, coded it. I'll go ahead and leave his Instagram right over here so you guys can check it out. He really hooked it up for me. I went ahead, sent it out to him, and he coded it from my old DME to this new DME. He didn't clone it, but he actually properly coded it because there's a little bit of a difference from cloning. I actually tried cloning the DME before, and it didn't work. There was no connection from the old DME. So I went ahead and had to get this new DME coded properly to this VIN number. So now pretty much we are good to try to start this car. About a month ago, we did try cranking it just to see if it actually just to make sure it wasn't seized. We unplugged the ignition coils. We're gonna try priming this thing and then hopefully starting it. So let's go ahead, try that right now. All right guys, I'm gonna go ahead and prime it real quick just to get the oil flowing so that when we do start it up, hopefully there's no issues or that we don't cause any damage to the engine. This is like 3 months in the making, dude. Wow, I'm like actually stressing, dude. 3 months in the making.
3 months in the making, bro.
Alright. What happens? Should I just cut it if something bad happens?
You'll hear if something bad happens, bro. You just send it. Yeah. That sounds like metal is scraping. Is that the transmission? Well, good news is no smoke out the exhaust. Engine started. It wasn't rod knock. Something scraping.
You want to see the video? Dude, no, wait.
No, drop the. I generally don't think it's anything major. It could just be either the transmission. The torque converter was seated though, right? We have the transmission in there? Okay. Send it.
Going?
Yep.
Alrighty guys, as you guys saw, the car actually started, so the engine actually started up, but from what it sounds like, it kind of sounds like we have a flywheel issue. It's either going to be the starter or the actual flywheel itself. I'm hoping it's the starter, but we're just going to go ahead and knock this out in another video. I originally told you guys I just wanted to keep it 3 videos, but at this point I've done so much work for this 3rd video, and there's still issues that I'm just going to make it a 4th video. So we're gonna go ahead and end it right here, guys. At least now we know that the engine actually starts. That is a good thing. But it does sound like it's either the starter or flywheel. So we're gonna go ahead, knock that out in the next video. If you guys did enjoy this video though, make sure to go ahead, give it a like down below, and make sure to subscribe while you guys are at it. Make sure to check me out on Instagram. Make sure to check out Nor on Instagram. Who else was in this video? I don't
Trying
remember.
to get the free plug.
Make sure to check us out on Instagram. With all that being said though, guys, remember, stay safe, stay happy, and stay in that project car. Catch you guys later.
Back on deck on my fly. Really on my.